Come on, bud. We'll gather around, kids, because I want to tell you guys something. I'm going to tell them a story, buddy, about Grandpa. See, my grandpappy was in World War II, and he had shell shock from tanks and stuff. I knew my grandpa when I was younger, but after I got older and did my thing, not so much anymore. But he had shell shock, and I remember it from when I was a kid. I'd see him, and he'd go off. He'd not his jaw would drop open, and his head would kind of lift, and his eyes would kind of open up, and he'd start staring, and then every now and then he'd be like, "Tank," tank. He'd say tank, like he was afraid of it. So there was that. I said, "You all right, Grandpa?" He had a bullet in his left hand. He got shot in the hand. He had his Tommy gun, and he was shooting it, and he was getting shot at. And the wood, it was like more wood on that Tommy gun for some reason. And he got shot in the hand, and the wood splintered, and the wood splinter came up and hit him in the face. So people thought that he had been shot in the face, but he'd been shot in the hand. And that was in the Battle of Bastogne, or the Battle of the Bulge, where there was infantry versus, I don't know a division, a battalion, I don't know, of tanks, Panzer tanks. So my grandpa was there, and Christmas happened during that battle. And he got out. So he was a cool guy. But, sometimes a lot of the stuff that I've read about World War II, door-to-door fighting, to where you've got, for a city, where you have like a streets and everything, but you have a small area that you hold, and you need to control more of the city. So you go building to building and door to door to clear everything. And that was brutal because, in World War II, let's say, you'd have Nazis camped out in houses and booby trapped the place or whatever. Freaky stuff. Now, I'm talking about war because war is, I guess, what happens when all politics fails. All diplomacy fails. You go to war. And I look at politics today, and this is what I see. I'm just trying to tell you what I see. The politicians, the people who I don't believe really are Americans, who've taken up ownership of the country through the political class, aren't any good at solving problems. They're all little divas who are concerned with their cult of personality, like they're Stalin or something. And they want for themselves first, and then they'll side with their party, and they don't want to side with the other side ever. So nothing ever gets done with politics. The representatives stayed in there. You can't get people in there who really represent the people from from different parts of it, because it's always the same person. And I look at history and I see, okay, war. Definitely, the thing that you're going to have to understand is that America's not safe. America's not safe. And there's people that want to bring war here. You hear the war hawks always say that. You got to watch out for your enemies. But, there are countries out there and people out there and powers and everything who would love to see something like the United States fall like that. Now, when the politics can't get anything done and the people are left in the lurch, they're left with their pants down completely. It's like you're leaving the civilian population with their pants down completely, and this new kind of terror warfare that you have. See, this influx of illegal aliens and everything through the southern border, or through the porous borders idea, only allows uh, enemy combatants in who will not register and who are trained, indoctrinated from other parts of the world and other countries to kill and hate. And that's true. That's true because not every country is like America. There's a lot of countries out there where it's dog eat dog, and it can get vicious. And America always had a target on its back ever since it's been around, especially after World War II. Because it was hegemonic uh, and built military bases everywhere. It built an ire in the rest of the world. So the thing is there's a danger to that because if you look at history, if the civilian population is left with its pants down, politics is totally fractured and doesn't work. The military has been funneled into the Middle East in a sand trap and a cliff, uh, to be attrited, to be killed there. So the weakening of the country, and it's like, okay. And I never really could get any of that across to my fellow Americans, my peers. None of my peers ever took it as seriously as I did. When you talk about the Constitution, I blow people's minds a lot because I have a bad sense of humor. But you talk about the Constitution, and the Constitution pretty much says that if somebody burglarizes your house and breaks into your house to steal something, and you command them to leave verbally, and you tell them, leave under threat of death, basically, you need to leave, unless you've broken the law or you've done something wrong to warrant them coming. The Constitution says that you can blow them away out your door. Okay? Now that's true. It's important because everything boils down to the individual. And you have to give each individual that right over their domicile where they live in order to create harmony. It seems unequal, but they say that you're the master of your household, the head of household, and that kind of thing. And that denotes property ownership. You see, and also not, I guess, a decision to bear arms. Because if you've got a shotgun and a place to live, that's how you protect it, right? If you give that power to the individual, it will be harder for people to come along and railroad everybody. You see? Now, we focus so much on the individual here in this country that we can't see the forest from the trees. Because with propaganda, you see, the way that the media has turned into propaganda, there's always a danger of an influx, an invasion happening. Let's say there's going to be an invasion, and the media isn't covering it. And things happen. Let's say there's an invasion into the southern United States, to where you've got waves of people coming at you, right? And they want to get in, and they don't want to cooperate with you. They want to get in and do what they want to do. Okay? And what they want to do is take all your stuff, really. Usurp your throne. Okay? Now, if that were to happen, and there were murders, and there was the territories like states in question, if the media isn't honest, then they won't tell you about any of that. Let's say a couple of states over, there's hostility, and then it comes a state closer, and then a state closer, and then it's in your state. and then it's in your locality, and then it's in your living room, and the whole time you're sitting there watching MTV, and they're telling you, "Oh yeah, party, party, party," right? But you're not paying it, and you're not paying attention. And we've done the individual so much in this country that people only care about themselves anymore. Seems like it's you don't see the same kind of cohesion that you used to. You know, there used to be an underlying cohesion and an identity to being an American. But now, since we've allowed anybody to be anything, and that's cool, that cohesion and that identity has been turned into a cheap celebutante popularity contest, I think. And it's a very careful pruning and weeding and social engineering to prune and weed anyone of talent or ability, to prune and weed them out of the society and get rid of them, or at least uh, control them, right? And you see it. You see the absurdity of it in the politics today and in the culture, the glaring hypocrisy, the double standards, right? Uh, that's what it's gotten to, and that's how you know that the time has come. That the time has come to reap what you sow, right? So we'll have to see, but I think more like that. I think more along those lines than I do so much preferences, people's preferences, people's personal preferences don't matter to me. It doesn't. It's not a conflict for me, you know. But I've seen the small egotistical, small power grab. It's like reverse power grab. It's more of a, like I'm gonna destroy everything. I'm gonna pretend that I'm working with you, but then turn around and destroy everything because I'm an egotistical prick who wants to just make sure that, who thinks that by ruining something for someone else, that's proving something to the person that about them being right, right? Like you'll get into it with somebody in a back and forth, and they'll be they're in the wrong, but they won't want to admit it. So they will then go about sabotaging situations and things, so that you will be have setbacks because of it, as a way to try to prove that they really were right, and that kind of thing. I mean, I'm wondering, shit. What if something happened where the security broke? It's like you're seeing security breakdown in these cities with shit blowing up. People burned, the cops standing down. So stay tuned because Biden's in charge, and there's been two mass shootings already. Oh man, what else did he do? He says he's going to get out of Afghanistan within a year. I'd like to believe him, but I don't. If he gets out within a year, then wow, great, good on him. But Joe Biden needs to seriously consider stopping all traffic at the border, just locking the border down, locking the gate. Right? It's like you have a gate and you can lock it, gate to your city. Well, put the lattice down and lock the damn gate. Anybody who comes in, who who attempts to invade, fire upon him. I'm not from the military, but I've seen that movie Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas and How I Learned to Stop Loving the Bomb, where that's good shooting, soldier. Two can play at that game, soldier. Anyone who approaches the base within 45 is to be fired upon. And because and who knows what to believe in the media. The media will tell you this is happening, and I try to weed through sources as much as I can because so much of it is just blatant bullshit that you hear from, okay, there's a problem at the border, there's a problem at the border, right? It rings true. There's a problem at the border, there's migrants coming into the border again, there's migrants coming into the border. And then you see the guy from Texas being like, yeah, there's tons of people like trying to get in. And Joe Biden is kind of sitting there twiddling his thumbs, talking about how, on the one hand, he is the cognitive dissonance while the whole thing collapses. On the one hand, Joe Biden says, we need to learn to understand why these people are coming to our country from Honduras and El Salvador and Guatemala. And we need to take time, and I'm going to study why they're coming here, of what the problem is in their country and what we can do. And then he turns around and he goes, well, you might need to deport people. You got to deport people. And he's like, but Mexico won't take them. And it's like, I see what Joe's doing. That's what Joe's job is, right, for the next 4 years, is to be confused about what's going on, not have a clear message for people. He says an infrastructure plan. How about instead of an infrastructure plan, you get on a border security plan, because that's the issue right now at the border. Joe Biden's like, what's up? Oh, the border, they're crashing the border? How about 3 months from now we do an infrastructure plan? It's like, how about right now you do something about the border? Where are you going to go at? It's like, why does he get to just walk away without me, sliding in and wrapping up his ankles and being like, where are you going, baby? And then crawling up his suit. Where are you going, baby? Where are you going? And looking at him, and he'd be going, where are you going? Aren't you going to do, and set him down, aren't you going to do something about the border? Oh, right. Right. So that's my story. My grandpa had PTSD.